hysterical.
Oh yeah,
You know,
some of them are really funny. I'm live now as well. I just
they're
did
like
it just
pathetically
so you know.
hysterical. It's like I can sense the ghost in this area. You fucking idiot! There's a fucking vent right there. It was the air duct. I can.
So
It's
yeah.
cold right here. The ghost must be right here. The guy's just like, there's a fucking air vent right above you, dumbass. Pans up, and the guy then it like cuts away just to the guy sitting there at the chair. Right? He says, "I don't think he understands what I mean."
There's a ghost. There's always a ghost. I'm very ghost paranoid. I blame everything on ghost.
If it makes you feel better, ghosts are actually like entirely impossible because our brains cannot do that shit.
No, the ghosts are big possible. They already exist.
Ghosts are not possible. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they are. They're
If
very
they
real.
were, if they were, right? You would think with our level of technology, we'd find them.
Well, they do. There's a lot of like unexplained stuff that was recorded in technology.
Unexplained, and.
Yeah, because you can't say it was a ghost because we're still at the point where the scientific community doesn't take it seriously.
We're just at the point. It's not the fact that the scientific community doesn't take it seriously. We're at the point that it hasn't been therefore explained. There's been a lot of things that haven't been explained. We still don't know how anesthetics work, but we still use them on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, but with like ghosts though, it's just like stuff that's like spooky. It's not like Bigfoot where there basically is nothing at all in terms of evidence that's verified, but
yeah, that's the thing. Right now we're in we're like it's kind of like the thing with homunculi and shit like that. It's possible we could make it. No one just wants to.
I'm basically convinced it's a big real.
I'm not. I think ghosts are literally just something like
mainly
like
because we've had personal stuff happen with our family, especially my father and sister.
It's kind of like the whole Wendigo stories. Did you know like the things how it was the what is it? The American Indians. They basically have Wendigos, right? The true story about
Wendigo. The sage. You gotta get the sage, man.
The true thing about Wendigos is they're literally a story to make sure that the people are afraid of the woods, and there are reasons why people want to be afraid of the woods. It's kind of like Hansel and Gretel. Those things literally just exist just to place people in a state where like basically like they want to just. It's a way to scare children to make sure that they don't do things later on in their life.
Yeah, which never makes sense because I
Wendigos are actually kind of different because Wendigos actually got a fucking bad rep, and I'm gonna tell you why. There's a big, well-known author who did a horror story called Pet Sematary, right?
Yeah.
You know where this is going.
Stephen King.
And that shit had Wendigos. Thing is, he entirely misrepresented Wendigos what they truly were, and when they did that, it was a whole fucking cascade. And I feel so bad for the American Indians because Wendigos and their things, they are terrifying.
I feel more bad how they had their entire place they lived taken from them and then moved to reservations, killing hundreds of millions. I'm more sad about that than anything else.
I'm sad about that too.
Well, I'm sad about it. I don't.
But the thing is, we're misappropriating their culture. If I use Wendigos, I'm using them in proper context because what it is basically an actual Wendigo. Instead of it being this lumbering beast of the woods, no, it's literally a man and/or a woman that has been saddened to the point where nature basically takes over. I think that's what it is. I'm gonna need to check it up again. It's been a while, but basically it's just someone who has been just absolutely destroyed, and nature takes over, and like their hate and anger basically just resonates throughout their body.
Because basically, I am one of the Wendigo men due to my arm span being longer than I am tall, as well as my legs being longer than my body as well, and my hands also being very long.
I'm there too, but you know, we just don't.
Wendigo people.
Wendigos, but the thing is, Wendigos in real life are actually fucking.
Yeah. If you're more limb than body, you're a Wendigo, man. That's how. And if you're more body than limb, you're a normal person. One of those spooky normal people.
My legs are like notoriously long. Like my parents, like I have like small head but big limbs. So my parents are like, they're like, when you were born, your head was the size of a tennis ball.
Yeah, but the main issue we had with Ghost was doors locking themselves on a specific day for several years consecutively until it stopped. And the day just happened to be the birthday of a deceased relative that we loved her very much. So, yeah, big spook ghost, essentially. Or it was something pretending to be a ghost, which is also possible.
HTML documents that you saved and make as a minimum. Alright.
Yeah, but ghosts are like, it's like what, I forgot what scientist said it, but it might have been Einstein where he said it's like, no amount of experimentation can prove me right, but a single experiment can prove me wrong. It's kind of like, it's kind of like how ghosts are, where it's like, well, you can't ever prove they don't exist. Like, it's not, you can't do that.
Well, you can't ever prove they don't. No, you can't ever prove that they don't exist until you can.
Yeah. Well, you just can't, because like you can't. It's unprovable. It's like.
Kind of like last Thursday's.
I still find it weird, the theory of gravity that's like where gravity isn't a force. It's like I still can't comprehend how that works logistically.
Or how about flogination, or basically how they used to think that burning things release a certain type of energy signal compared to everything else.
A conflagration of 2016. Casualties were one eyebrow. That was all. Nothing else. Alright, but of the first spooky ghost show, that's the one that's it's based off ghost stories, and then they produced reenactments of what happened. And they usually add a bunch of shit too that didn't actually happen. Because it's not spooky enough, apparently.
Did you know that most of the ghost stories that take place, they just go into old buildings and make up some random shit?
No, these are almost exclusively families that move into a haunted house. And not all of them are necessarily old. There was one case where the family had already lived in the house for 40 years, and then it suddenly became haunted.
Wow.
Very spooky.
That's
So just because you live in your house right now, and you have lived there for years now, and nothing's happened, doesn't mean that you're safe to spooks. It could always appear. And actually, that's what happened to my house, was we already lived there for like, I don't know, 7 years, and then we had spooky hauntings. And in the case of my sister and father, they're annoyed by spooky stuff constantly. Well, not constantly, just semi-regularly. That's what I mean. And they have the spooky dreamos as well. I'm trying to figure out how prosthetic visions work. Like, I feel like the way it works is it's literally like a vision. Like, it's not like prosthetic, it's just a possibility that you see, because, you know, nothing's truly predictable to like the exact nth degree, because quantum mechanics ensures that there's like randomness. At least we understand it to be randomness. It might be predictable, but as far as we can tell, it's basically random.
I just entirely talked to myself. There you go. No one was watching the stream. Big sad. Alright then.
Yeah. No one's watching my stream too.
Why do you do it if no one watches?
Because it's I find it fun to do it once a week. Because I always talk about spook, so. I mean, the whole point of like setting like around-ish an hour to stream a week is I know that I'll have fun doing that regardless of like how many views it does or doesn't get. Even though realistically on Twitch, it's just sheer volume of stuff that matters. Like, if I had like a fake Twitch channel where all it did was it restreamed random people on Twitch 24/7, it would probably get like pretty fucking big pretty quickly.
Yeah, so no, so the only thing it does is at random times, from random intervals from at least like 1 hour to 3 hours, they randomly just raid other Twitch channels.
Yeah, if all it, because Twitch has auto hosting basically. If all it did was it auto hosted whoever had the most views at any moment in time, and it did that 24/7, it would become a pretty big Twitch channel.
Well, no, what I was thinking was random Twitch channel that's currently active, right? So what it is, yeah, just an entirely random Twitch channel. So what it is basically just a Twitch channel that's called Random Stream, right? So you and just a bunch of other people go on there and just, it randomly chooses a streamer that's actively streaming, and it just rates them. It rates them for a random period of time. It could be anywhere from 30 minutes to like, maybe like
1
3
second.
hours.
Anywhere from 1 second to 10 hours. Make it as random as possible.
It just rates them. Well, not 1
Random
second. We gotta be there. I'm gonna say like minimum of like 3 minutes.
I could only imagine if it rolled like 1 second like 3 times in a roll, and so it's just like.
I'd say at least 3 minutes. 3 minutes minimally.
See, it does the load time if it knows the channel's bad. But no, I'd rather have it restream like popular people, because then you have a better chance of like, you're already stealing like people's shit. You might as well make it as productive as possible. It's like, we've already compromised our moral integrity, we might as well just go all the fucking way.
Well, that's the,
like,
the,
why
the,
half-ass
point, the point of it is the fact that it's random, and then so that people who are watching don't even know what's gonna happen next, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's the main reason people wouldn't watch it, is because they don't know what's gonna happen.
I feel like that's gonna be a big ground. It's like people go on the websites that click a random the random button like on Wikipedia just to see what it pulls up.
Did you ever watch Smiling Friends?
No, we're still trying to handle shit in our house.
I don't understand what's the holdup.
Mostly because
It's been like 3 months now.
Yeah, mostly the reason why is just because my family is fucking busy.
Yeah, for 3 months, not a single fucker has an hour and a half. Not even that, because you don't have to watch all in one sitting. Literally 10 minutes, basically.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. Also, I just don't want to.
It's like, you mean, well, you don't want to, but also, we can't watch it together or spoil it. It's tism. You make this hard. Yeah, but I do like the spooky ghost show that reenacts the thingos that are spooky.
Got there.
I just like the one house where people kept going to it and trying to make it look nice, and every single one of them went insane and got scared. Oh yeah, that was the one where a couple lived there in like the 1700s. They saw the ghost come out of their basement, and they shot it twice, realized it was a ghost, and they fucked off and never came back. That was amazing. That was like the best thing that ever happened. It was like I think it was Mr. Pinkerton that tried to shoot the ghost, and then realized that it was a ghost and decided, fuck this shit. I'm taking my whole family out of here. I just like how because he thought someone broke into his house from the basement, that he just immediately got his gun and shot him without even thinking about it.
What is this thing? Is this the homepage?
For what?
They just don't explain which one's which.
Oh, I do find another thing confusing about people's perception of Twitch, which is like people somehow think like the just chatting is like the most popular thing on Twitch. It's like it's not. Because they're like, oh my god, like chatting is so big compared to gaming. Is like, no, it's pathetically small. Because we're talking about all of gaming. Like, just chatting will get more viewers than, like, the most popular game. But that doesn't, like, matter.
Wait. What? So, I'm supposed to... Let's continue.
What are you doing?
So, as you add... So, open the thing and make the following updates as a minimum.
Alright.
The home.html. Okay, so...
What are you doing?
Me?
Your HTML.
Yeah, I'm doing HTML. After full name, H1, center top of the page. I just don't fucking like doing fucking OOP. Object-oriented programming to suck a dick. It's not hard. That's the issue. I just don't like doing it. I have bad experiences with it.
It's really funny when people say something's not hard and yet they have difficulty doing it. It's like, okay.
No, it's not. It's not the fact that it's hard. It's the fact that I had past experiences with it, and they were
Seems
not
like
fun.
It might be hard.
It's not.
Well, it's like if it's not fun, it's like, well, that's difficulty. You have to do something that's boring. Like, that makes it hard.
Well, I just had no. The thing is, it's not hard. I've just had past experiences where they were miserable. So now I relate this to misery.
I really
You
don't
understand me?
understand. Yeah, but I really just don't understand. Like, why can't it be hard though? What's wrong with it being hard? And it's just too hard. That's another thing that confuses me. It's like, why is it the answer is never that something's just hard? It's like, it's always something else somehow, even though it's probably just hard.
It's not hard. I just don't want to do this.
I mean, I would say from a certain point of view, it definitely is hard.
Well, if I had no clue what I was doing, but I have a clue what I'm doing.
Well, that wouldn't be hard. That would just be, like, impossible. You have to reverse engineer how to program with no context. Like, that just sounds, like, unreasonable more than hard. Because it's, like, hard implies you know what you're doing, essentially. But it's just, like...
Well, that's the thing. I'm not struggling at all, therefore it's not hard.
Okay. So... But you are struggling to, like, focus on it long enough to do it, right?
That's just my whole life, though, so I can't complain.
So your entire life is hard, basically.
Yeah, so the fact that when I do something and when I'm serious about it, it means something.
Yeah.
That's what a combination of fucking ADHD,
Unlike the HTML.
autism do to you. But, like, bro, I actually, like, I got a technical certification that I got autism, but I didn't get a actual legitimate one, so we're actually going back and getting a legitimate
I want
thing.
to get a fake one, just to have lying in, like, a stack of papers somewhere for someone to discover.
What the fuck? No, that's horrible.
Why?
Dude, you're gonna fake a mental illness? Seriously?
No, just putting a fake document that no one will ever find that says I have a mental illness and never mention it ever to anyone.
That's still faking a mental illness.
Oh, it's not faking it if you never tell anyone you're faking it.
Well, at least that's a horrible joke to fucking pull. Like,
well, no one will know about the joke. Because that's the whole point.
Eventually figure it out.
Oh, they won't, because...
At that point, you're just having, like, fraud paperwork. You're talking to someone who literally is trying to struggle from day to day with shit, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna make a joke about it, ho ho ho.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
I think it's really funny.
It's not funny. That's like the epitome of not fucking funny.
Well, it's just a piece of paper in a binder somewhere.
It's just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I've heard this fucking
mean
excuse
anything.
how many fucking times? Just because it's a piece of paper, one piece of paper can do a lot of bad, and that one piece of paper that you're so saying that you supposedly have just to have is like, it's basically a combination of other people's suffering. Like, what you're joking about, other people have to live with on a day-to-day basis that they can't take medicine or do whatever to fix. A mental illness is like something that I have to live with every fucking day, and you're gonna make a joke about it?
He's like, well, I mean, yeah, I make jokes about everything. Why do you get to be protected when other people that I'll make fun of won't get protected? It's like, I don't see.
No, I'm just annoyed the fact that you're making the joke in the first place.
Well,
It's not
yeah,
about
but
me,
I
it's
mean,
about
like,
just the thing of just doing it as a joke. It's
but
not
I don't
funny.
see. I just don't see why I can't joke about something that you find offensive when there's something else that I would joke about that you wouldn't care about, but that someone else would find offensive. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah, well, the
who do I
thing is,
believe here?
like,
Can I just
well,
never
there's
offend
difference
anyone ever?
between- Well,
Like-
there's a difference between, you know, making a joke and actively doing something. It sounds like you're gonna actively fucking do it, and at that point, now you're just, like, it goes from the realm of, ha ha, you know, like, saying that and...
Like,
you
if
know,
I had a
something-
piece of paper that said I'm a giant fat ass, that's fake, like, that would be the same thing, but I don't see how
Well,
that has
no,
any...
but that's still, like, the fact that you said you slip into official documents, that point...
it's a fake document, it's not real.
Yeah, but if you slip a fake document into a pile of real documents...
Oh, it's not a real,
Keep
it's
it a
just,
joke.
it's just like between sheets of paper. It's like, it's not in like between anything real, it just exists in my house and my private areas, so that if someone found it, I would know that they were robbing me and I could send them to jail, because that's the whole reason it's there.
That's the most convoluted fucking way of doing that. It's absolutely asinine.
Well, that's why no one would be expecting it, so it's foolproof.
It's... Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
It also makes me giggle, because it's like, yeah, I have the autism thing no one knows about. It's great. Brings me endless joy.
That's just fucked up.
I don't see how it's fucked up. It's just a piece of paper no one knows about that I have in my private possession. What other... Oh yeah, I was watching the Comedy Ghost show as well. The one that's about, a particular haunted house. And it's big funny and big spooky. Because the guy going into it doesn't really care that much about the spooks. He's just annoyed by everything, really. He gets scared once or twice, but most of the time he's just like, God damn it, I hate this haunting. It sucks. But that one's pretty good too. There's like 9 movies about it, and I watched 3 of them, and half of the 4th one. And I plan to like watch them all, because I found a website where they're free but they're ad supported, which I feel like is a very good compromise. Because buying them all would be like $40, and I don't really want to do that at this moment. I might do that in the future, but I think for now it's like, oh, it's ad supported, so you know, I get inconvenience and they get money, so it works for me. The ads aren't even like that bad. It's like after 5 minutes you get 2 minutes of ads, and then every 15 minutes you get anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute of ads every 15 minutes after the first 5 minutes, which is like, that's very reasonable in my mind. I can totally live with that for a movie, because that means like the total runtime of the ads in an hour-and-a-half movie is only like 10 minutes, maybe. So like, I think that's pretty fucking good. Yeah. Oh yeah, you do have to do a big stream to get the big watching. But, oh yeah, I was also talking about the Just Chat. Yeah, it's weird, because people are like, oh my god, Just Chatting always has, like, the most, like, views, so it's, like, way better than gaming. It's like, but gaming doesn't have, like, a summary, though. It's, like, it's only, like, individual games. And sometimes some individual games get as big as, like, the Just Chatting anyway, so it's, like, if you want to take
Just
all...
Chatting is basically a culmination of just, like, a lot of people doing the same activity. It's an activity, not a game. You know?
Yeah, it's like you can't tell me that Just Chatting is bigger than all of gaming on Twitch. Like, all of it? Like, no, it's not. It's bigger than individual games, but not the entire thing. Like, the vast majority of Twitch is still gaming. And the just chatting is more just like, oh, it's just a segment. Which I'm fine with being around.
I'm guessing if you took the top ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would, like,
I'll look at
what do you call it? The top 3 to 5, like, gaming things, gaming related channels or whatever, and compare that to just chatting. It's all the gaming ones would actually be on top.
And also half of the just chatting is just people who steal YouTube videos and TV shows to replay on their Twitch. So when they get finally, you know, thrown in jail, because that's literally illegal, they'll die horribly. The whole category will just fizzle out. Well, at least it'll shrink down massively, because you still have people in just chatting that are like, they're just vloggers essentially that do it live and they put in, like, you know, effort and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, there's someone who actually did the whole thing of like, you know,
But you have, like, the Twitch channels where the only reason people even watch them is because they're literally too lazy to find videos to watch. That's, like, literally. And there's a decent amount of people that, well, they like yelling in the chat, so. And other lunatics. Which I can relate to. But you could just use Discord. And get, like, a better experience. You definitely get better quality streams, I can guarantee that.
I just don't like some of the biggest things, like, you know, XQC, all that. They're just. It seems like the streaming things, they just want to radiate assholeness.
Oh yeah,
like,
those are really.
Like I don't know why, but all the streamers that like are super big and popular are just absolute, like, asswipes of the human race.
Oh, there was something really fucked up that happened on Twitch. For, like,
there's a lot of fucked up things that happen on Twitch. You need to be a little bit more specific.
Okay, well, this one's, like, really funny. What happened was, you know, on Twitch you have, like, you know, the Tata streamers.
Yeah.
Is, like, what happened was there was a guy who, like, he did a lot of working out. So he decided on stream that, oh, he'd just, like, show off his chest, because he had, like, you know, did sick workouts, and he got temp banned for that. It's like, oh, this doesn't seem very, I don't understand how this works. It's like, isn't that, very spooky?
It's just depressing more than anything.
I think it's kind of funny. So you would think that would be very considering you can go out in public and not get arrested for having your chest out as a guy, even if you're ugly. You don't even have to look good. Whereas if you're a girl, if you ever show your chest, you can get, you know, indecent exposure, essentially. Whereas on Twitch, it's somehow managed to, like, 180 to the other direction. It's kind of just really funny, because, like, I still find it a little bit strange how it's like, I don't understand why there's a double standard, regardless of reality or Twitch. To me, it should be, like, either no one can show anything or everyone can show, like, at least their chest. Because that's the only way it makes sense to me. And plus, you have the freedom to wear, like, as much clothing as you want to at any moment in time. It's like, it's weird how there's only laws against, like, you can't wear too little. It's still weird.
Yeah.
It's like, people would be a lot happier if you had more freedom with apparel, as in being allowed to wear lower amounts of apparel, because people wouldn't be naked on the streets all the time, mainly just because it's fucking cold, like. It's just people being, like, too, you know, scared of their own self-image, as well as being very, like, concerned with other people as well. It's like, I don't know, it's just strange. It's just strange how it's gotten to this point. Where it's like, really, ideally no one should care one way or the other, and, like, if everything is going correctly. I mean, half of the stuff I do is just because It's like what other people want me to do, and what I would want to do personally is like, well, I never get to do that because other people don't like it. So yeah, it's just the perpetual struggle of there's the way I want to do everything in my mind, and then I'm always prevented from doing it because of other people's opinions on it, essentially. So. Cats are kind of fun. Janae is always a little bit of fun, even though PvPs are too hard. I can't do it anymore. It's too hard. It becomes frustrating. It's like playing. Well, I mean, flying at PlanetSide right now is actually slightly. Well, it's spooky because it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes you get a person with 10,000 hours that tryhards on you, and then, as in tryharding as it's like he has like a better weapon than me, he has a better secondary, he has like 10 times my playtime. He actually doesn't have a problem controlling his own flight-worthy vessel, whereas in PlanetSide 2, I'm still fighting the flight model. I'm not very good at the flight model. I'm still just actively fighting it. It's like if it feels like flight assist is on, essentially, with how the flight model works, or I'm just attacking the flight model. So I don't really like it that much. And that's why the other aircraft are more fun than the fighters.
God,
so I don't feel like I'm fighting them as much.
Banish this bullshit. I don't like doing HTML.
Like, the stupidest thing in PlanetSide 2 is there's like, you have only the throttle. You don't have, like, just manually firing your engines. It's, like, the main thing I don't like. I love manually controlling the ship, like, so much more. I hate it when there's an automated system that I can't turn off. Because it just makes it where it's like, it just never does what I want it to. So I want to learn how to use this automated system. I just want to do it myself. That's more fun. It's like, what's the point of playing the game if the game's going to be playing itself to a certain extent? It's like, well, what's the fucking point then? At least for me, there's not much point. It's like, I'd rather have I'd rather have the results be 100% my fault, even if I sucked, than to, like, have an assist that helps me. But it's like, oh, well, I didn't do that. I just like, got told what to do and just followed it. Like, I just got instructions on what to do and followed them. I didn't, like, do that myself. That's kind of like why I don't. So I don't like beating bosses by memorizing everything the boss does, because it just feels like, well, I didn't really beat the boss. I just figured out all his moves and countered them perfectly, when in reality I'm not better than this boss. Like, if this boss somehow did something new, I would be fucked and wouldn't know how to react to it in any way. It's like basically it's me thinking if this boss was like a human opponent instead, I would be fucked completely. Because of a human person, it's like, well, he can change the strategy all damn day. Like, you're not gonna memorize everything he does in most cases. It's just a matter of, are you better than him or not? Because you're probably not gonna perfectly counter him just by knowing what he's gonna do, which is what happens in single-player games all the time with, like, bosses, is you don't really get to a point where you can beat the boss at his own game. You just figure out. You just rig the game to shit.
I thought it was something funny about bosses and rigging games and things. I had a friend who played a game. They played Hollow Knight, and they said that the first boss of the game was the hardest thing they ever done. They were like, I fought this boss like 40 times and I finally got it. And I was like, oh, okay, the game must be pretty hard. My experience with the boss, 2 tries, and I fucking destroyed his ass. And he got upset with me for doing
Oh, that's not. It's like, It's like people are gonna be better at you than a game. I'm sorry.
Excuse me. I was just, dude. The funny thing is, next thing he wanted to play was a Dark Souls game.
So
I didn't want to be there when he started it. He started it, and he just complained. You know the first Dark Souls games, the boss on the bridge?
You mean El Asylum Demon? Oh no, the one on the bridge. I don't fucking remember his name, but he's like one of the harder bosses.
Literally the first boss.
Yeah, that'd be
Like,
Asylum. In Dark Souls 1, that's just a silent demon. Because he's like the tutorial boss, end quotes, because he's not really a tutorial.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, well, he was the first boss, not the one that you fight in the tutorial. The first boss that you fight,
Yeah.
right? He just said that it must be the end of the game because he couldn't defeat it.
Wow.
I was like, bro, I felt so
man.
bad. I was like, dude, I hate to tell it to you, but that guy only took me like 3 times, and that's the first boss of the game. Dude flipped his lip. Dude flipped his lip for some fucking reason.
Oh man, I would love if you could somehow get tricked into thinking that the first boss in Sekiro, if you win against it, you like beat the whole game. Because it's like, that's the boss where you're supposed to lose, but it's possible to beat him.
Oh yeah, it's possible to beat him. I did not. I did not.
Yeah, I never
Sekiro
played
is a good game. It's just for me. I don't know. I like. Funny thing, I actually beat the you know the troll that was bound up. Yeah, I beat him without using any fire because I don't know where the fire stuff is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember anything about Sekiro. So.
I'm thinking about restarting that game, and I'm thinking about restarting that game is like starting from the top and finding that fire thing because I think I just didn't, you know. I just didn't find it, which sucked.
Yeah.
Company to learn more about
Beating all of Dark Souls is a level 1.
I had a friend who did that. He said it's very easy.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why he did it. He wouldn't have done it if it was impossible for him. So.
Well, yeah, no, hey, dude, he did broken sword challenge. He's like, actually, it's the most overpowered fucking weapon in the game when you do it right.
This takes a long time.
You could just buff that thing to fucking high hell and then use it and just smite the off position.
I mean, all level 1 in Dark Souls, it's like, it's the same as like, well, it's not quite the same as a hitless run, but like, it's basically the same as a hitless run, so. Just,
it's
it takes
a hitless run with more flavor.
It's a hitless run, but every boss takes 9 years because your stats suck. And it's more, and you can't like spam roll because you have limited stamina with default stamina. So you have to like this requires you to play more perfectly than you normally would with a normal.
There's like a whole guide on how to do it 100% of the time now because it's just like.
Oh, at least with a hitless run, it's like, well, if you're doing just like the level 1 run, you can die as many times as you fucking want. You don't need to restart it.
Because
that's kind of stupid.
That was something funny. There was someone who was trying to speedrun Dark Souls 1 hitless. He was on the final boss, right? Final boss, and he was like, he has like world record paces that was doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the final boss, he went in for attack, and the boss barely clipped him, and you just see him fucking scream, just fuck. It was so, I felt so bad for the dude.
Yeah, that's why it's like, I don't understand why you want to do these challenges, because to me it's like, it's just torture. I just don't understand what are you even, like, unless you find it fun, because there are people who enjoy doing that. But it's like, if you're just doing it for, like, the lols or whatever, like, why? Because what are you fucking proving at this point? That you, like, walking on eggshells?
Do I have to insert a picture onto my fucking
Because even the people who are really good at doing Dark Souls hitless is like, they have failed runs. Like, they have a lot of failed runs. They have multitudes more failed runs than they do successful ones. Because that's how it is. Because it's like, as hell, especially like, because Dark Souls 1 isn't a perfect game. You can fucking get bullshitly hit at some point, and you gotta restart the whole run for it. It's like, I just don't see the point. It's So I feel like there's other things you could do that would be way better at, like, proving that you're good at the game, if that's what it's about. You know, like, you said how your friend did it, like, level 1 only. To me, it's like that I consider a lot more impressive than to just, do a hitless run.
That dude has done everything under the sun. He's done everything under the sun. At this point, I was like, hey, how about you just do this challenge or this challenge? Because he said, like, Darth, look, here's the thing. The reason why I don't do those challenges is because, at that point, you're purposely just trying to limit me just to limit me, right? Because it was like, don't heal, you know, use certain types of weapons. It's like, those things are boring. The reason why is you're literally you're just limiting it just because. You know, there's no actual challenge in limiting your weapon choice.
Yeah, because to me it's like, well, the whole point of this game is you have a health bar for a reason. So it's like, not getting hit, like, oh yeah, that's like a self-imposed challenge though, but the game is like, part of the challenge is like, you get hit like a certain amount of times, like, that's like, which would mean that it's like, okay, so what if hypothetically there's a situation where you could get hit on purpose and do more damage to the boss or whatever, which absolutely fucking comes up. So it's like, because that's part of the game in my opinion, like, because if you do a hitless challenge, like, yeah, it's cool and all, but you take away any cool stuff like damage boosting or like purposefully like leaving yourself open so you can get like some good hits in. It's like, to me, that's like part of the strategy and the fun of the game, which is, oh, you can use your health bar as a resource instead of treating it only as, oh, it's just mistakes. It's like, if you ever get hit ever, it's like a bad thing. It's like, well, I don't think that's the right way to think about it. It's like your health bar is a resource that they gave to you for you to use, not necessarily to never ever, like, use it. Because at that point, it's like, I feel like you're, like, somehow, you're, like, making the game kind of easier in a certain way. Like, you're simplifying it more, because it's like, oh, just don't get hit ever. That's, like, how it is. It's like, in a way, it's kind of simpler. Because you don't need to think about, like, oh, situations where you can, like, take this much damage or no. It's like, no. You don't even think about that anymore, because it's just about not getting hit. So you're playing the game, like, really differently. Because you're not even considering, like, the possibility of getting hit, because that's the game over for, like, the challenge you're doing. And I do think, like, not healing on, like, a boss, so just doing it with one health bar, I feel like that makes a little bit more sense, but still. It's like, it's just, like, you're just forgetting part of the game.
I'd rather do challenges than play the same game over and over and over again, because if you do certain challenges, you actually get better at the mechanics of the game instead of just getting better.
Yeah,
like,
I think you get a lot more mileage through trying to, like, do a legitimate, like, play style that you just suck at, and just, you know, learning it and finally getting good at that, than doing, like, spooky challenges that just limit what you can do. It's like, so instead of, like, going for a glass cannon build, it's like, okay, how about you try a tank build and play the whole game? That, you might find that more enjoyable, because you might suck at being a tank. Like, as funny as it would sound, if you used to play glass cannon builds all the time. Especially if you, like, talk about, like, speedrunning the game, like, as a tank. So it's like, try to, like, get as good of, like, a glass cannon time with a tank, because with a tank you have the advantage of, well, you can let yourself get hit on purpose just to get free, you know, shots in on a boss, which will, you know, save you a little bit of time. Like, probably not as much as a glass cannon, but it's like, there's definitely, like, something for you to do that's gonna make you better at the game without, you know, making the game, like, simpler, because it's not easier, because it's like...
The thing is about the games is they're not hard in the first place, they're just punishing.
Well, I'd say they're still harder because, you know, you have tight timing windows in some situations. You have, like...
No, the game... Well, no, the things are punishing.
Well, I would say they're still hard. Like, because it's...
Nah, they're not hard.
Because I would say they absolutely are hard. Like, if they weren't hard, they'd probably be one of my favorite games, because I would just screw around in them all the time, because I don't really care to, like, play them any level of correctly. I just want to, like, screw
There
around
are
and do
Dark
random
Souls
shit.
mod where it just makes the game easier, just so that it's like, what was it called? Casual Dark Souls or something like that.
Yeah, but it's like, I want it more nuanced if possible, you know, for messing around in. It's like, yeah. But I would say it's like,
Yeah,
I
Mega
consider
Mule mod,
it,
that's what it's called. Mega Mule.
to me, like, it's a hard game, because it's like, well, you have lots of things that are hard, like, there's even some situation where you need to, like, nail perfect timings when you're doing certain stuff, so yeah, it's definitely a hard game. Because it requires you to, like, do stuff that's, like, you know, considered hard for, like, most people. The only thing about it that's not hard is it's not very heavy on mechanical skill. It's like, it's a kind of lenient there. It's mainly a timing-based game. But in terms of, like, real-time, constant, like, small adjustments, like, it's not very big on that. It's not like a shooter game where you have constant small adjustments that you would make if you're, like, a professional aimer man, which I'm also not one of those. But if you were, that would be part of the thing there. Alright, I'm gonna kill this big boomer, and then I think that'll be it for my stream today. I want to do other tisms, because I figured out, I look at the hours I work this, like, I work, like, 6 to 7 hours every day, and it's like, oh, I miss, my schedule's become very weird, because I prefer it when it's, like, multiple days for 4 hours than just a smaller amount of days with, like, 6 to 7. So, yeah. It's quite spooky. But you have a good tisms.